It is interesting to know Gurudev's views and opinion on the value of seva in spiritual growth. A lesson to learn on how to practice it. A few insights on how seva works for someone who indulges in it. The podcast we present is seva. The snorkeling view of seva is doing good deeds, being a do-gooder. The deep sea dive view is having an attitude to share. The attitude that serving another is about serving the self in another. Continuous practice of such an attitude helps a person look at themselves as connected to all living forms. The degree of differentiation between one Atma and another is bridged by seva. The consciousness contained becomes the consciousness expanded, leading to automatic growth. Identifying with the forest or with the world of plants is far more magnifying than identification with the solitary tree. This expansion of individual consciousness was Gurudev's aim through seva. Imagine the difference in scope between I am one and I am all. Identification with the individual self ensured attachments and self-centered aspirations. It brought on limitations of the mind and therefore limitations to growth. The universe shrunk into a home, the sea into a glass, conditioning the being to live and think with boundaries. Seva helped to reverse all that. It led to respect of the self by the self, creating a union of the body with the spirit, thereby creating the infrastructure for collaboration and growth. This four-letter word seva brought about a change in all four directions. Gurudev gave the concept of seva a lot more depth. He practiced seva in various ways. Spiritual healing was just one of them. He gave barakat to those who were in financial difficulty, protection to those who were threatened by spirits and other negative energies. He served aspirants by helping them on the spiritual path. He often helped replenish the rations of those who could not afford to buy their own food. What made him unique was that he manipulated people's destinies by taking on some of their negatives. If one of the devotees had not eaten, he would forego his meal as a sacrifice. He used his connections with other saints and deities to broaden the bandwidth for providing help to others. What I found hard to imitate was that he served even those who were not so perceivably nice. He did not judge them and asked us not to either. I'm still not close to achieving that goal. In short, he would help whoever, whenever, and however he could. His inputs and investments comprised of his power, time, physical capabilities, his potential, and connectivity. He set goals not for people, but for saints. I wish there was something called part-time Shiv, so that you and I could aspire to reach at least that benchmark. On a more serious note, let's dive deeper into the subject of seva by hearing the opinions of others. F.C. Sharma ji was one of Gurudev's senior-most disciples and a man who was an icon of humility. He delivers a message from Gurudev.
उन्होंने हमेशा ये कहा कि मैं यहाँ खेल तमाशे करने नहीं आया हूँ, मैं लोगों को जगाने आया हूँ कि जागो, ईश्वर है, तुम्हारे पास ही है। क्योंकि वो इधर भागते फिरते इधर उधर, उसको याद करो और सेवा करो। ये ईश्वर का रूप समझो सभी को।
Gurudev's teachings were short and sweet, more like ek vakyas or single sentences. Here is one he shared with Giriji about seva.
What did Gurudev mean when he said seva?
Seva means, he said that whoever comes to you for any problem, solve their problems by serving them. That
Could
is
be any problem.
any problem. Yeah. Physically, mentally, or financially, with a lot of spiritual mantras which are being given.
So all problems that anyone has
Yeah.
can be solved through mantras.
Mantras and seva. Not only mantras, yeah.
So
Dedication and faith
dedication and faith in the
in the Guru.
Bittuji returns to provide an inside view of Gurudev's philosophy of seva.
सेवा उनका मतलब मेन मोटो था कि मैं जो जितना किसी के लिए कर सकता हूँ उतने के लिए। ना उन्होंने अपने शरीर का कभी ख्याल रखा। अगर पब्लिक खड़ी है तो उनको ह्यूमन बीइंग थे, कई बार बुखार भी हो जाता था, कई बार खांसी भी हो गई, लेकिन वो अपनी प्रॉब्लम को पीछे कर देते थे, परवाह नहीं करते थे।
It was Buddhe Baba, his mysterious spiritual mentor, who initiated him into spiritual seva in this incarnation. All the Shiv graphics like Om, Trishul, Nandi, Ganpati that appeared on his hands and other body parts gave him the capability to use these powers for the benefit of others. Buddhe Baba changed the Gayatri mantra which Gurudev recited into the Mahagayatri, kick-starting Gurudev's steep spiritual ascent in the years to come. Nagpal Ji was Gurudev's colleague at the Ministry of Agriculture, who spent several months in a year with him at his official camps. He was witness to the first public healing that happened out of Gurgaon in a place called Kurwai in Madhya Pradesh. Thereafter, on a much larger scale at Ashoknagar, about 70 kilometers further. As Nagpal Ji passed on a decade ago, it is impossible for us to re-record him. So do bear with a few audio disturbances.
उसके बाद फिर हमारा अशोकनगर के पास कैंप लगा। अशोकनगर से तहसील हेडक्वार्टर इंटीरियर विलेज था, वहाँ कैंप लगाया। तो वहाँ जाकर के पब्लिक आना शुरू हो गई, जिनके घुटनों में दर्द, जिनको को तकलीफ। तो मतलब ये देखिए कि जो लोग बैलगाड़ी में बैठ करके आए तो वापसी पे अपना दौड़ते हुए गए, और इतनी पब्लिक कि हम खुद हैरान होते थे कि भाई ये इनके पास क्या ऐसा जादू में है या क्या है, कैसे कर सकते हैं। तो मतलब वो कुरवई से जो स्टार्ट हुआ, गुना में ये हालत थी कि बैलगाड़ियों की लाइन लगी थी, और एक बैलगाड़ी में 15-15, 20 आदमी लग के आ रहे हैं और अपना इलाज करा के चल रहे हैं। 73-74 होगा।
Up next is Naubat Ramji, Gurudev's neighbor in Shivpuri, who spent a lot of time with him in those early years.
और आप उनको कैसे जानते थे?
मेरा एक तो पड़ोसी था।
हाँ जी।
दूसरा ये है कि मेरे बच्चे को तकलीफ थी।
क्या थी?
एलर्जी थी।
अच्छा जी।
तो उनका ये कहना था कि जिस वक्त इनको तकलीफ हो, चाहे रात को कभी भी, तो आप मेरे से संपर्क कर लें। तो जब कभी ऐसी दिक्कत हुई तो मैं रात को गया उनके पास 11 बजे, बस 2 बजे, 1 बजे, चाहे वो पाठ पे भी होते थे, तब भी वो उठ के मेरे से बात करते थे
जी,
और ये कहते थे कि आप जाओ। जो ही मैं घर आता तो बच्चा ठीक मिलता।
From the day he started Seva, he was available to people at all hours of the day and night. He cared a tuppence for his inconvenience, or for that matter, his family's. His time commitment increased as the numbers increased. Subhash Sabharwal, an erstwhile classmate from school, reconnected with Gurudev in the last few years of Gurudev's life. Although he wasn't obsessed with spiritualism, he was in awe of Gurudev. He remembers the Mahaguru's largesse.
बस अच्छा, फिर वो ही है ना, खाने पीने का जो लोगों का रहने का इंतजाम, खाने पीने का इंतजाम, किसी को कपड़े दे रहे हैं, किसी की शादी करवा रहे हैं, किसी की शादी वहाँ थोड़ी होती थी, बहुत शादी होती, उसमें सारा गुरु जी का पैसा खर्च होता था। गुरु जी के बदले क्या था, गुरु जी तो अपना प्रोविडेंट फंड भी उतना सारा निकाल के खा चुके थे।
From Subhash Giri to Shivpuri, rewind. Mataji recounts how Seva started at their home in Shivpuri in Gurgaon sometime in 1974. Gurudev was still a new kid on the block. However, by now he enjoyed the assistance and protection of the being called Buddhe Baba. But he certainly did not enjoy beginner's luck. The first case at Shivpuri in Gurgaon was one of spiritual politics and Guru Avelna. A lady had insulted her Guru who had blessed her with a child. Her Guru had put a curse on her that she would have a miscarriage in the 4th month of every pregnancy. Gurudev fought to champion her cause, faced a spiritual attack, but stood his ground. Unfortunately, the patient in question did not follow instructions and paid the price. Listen on.
और धीरे धीरे फिर पब्लिक जब आने शुरू हुई, सबसे पहले हमारे घर में आए ये 2 औरतें आई थी। वो थी औलाद लेने आई थी। उसके गुरु ने उसको चाप दे रखा था कि तेरे औलाद नहीं होगी। ये बड़ी लंबी चौड़ी स्टोरी है। उसके गुरु ने उसको चाप दिया था। उस टाइम वो प्रेग्नेंट थी, 4 महीने की। उसके घर में वो गया था। उसके आदमी ने कहा कि ये तेरा हमारा गुरु आया है, तो इसको तो कुछ दे दो। हमारे घर में हम बच्चे की उम्मीद रखी है, शुरू हुई है, गुरु कृपा से हुई है, तुझे दे दे इसको कुछ किराया। गुरु तो उसने पूछा क्या लोगे आप? मैं बहुत खुश हूँ आपसे, आपने कृपा की है। उसने कहा बेटा मेरे को कोई इच्छा नहीं है, मेरा 6 रुपया किराया लगा है, आगे जाने के लिए 6 रुपया और दे दे, वापस आने के लिए और कोई मिल जाएगा। उस औरत ने 6 रुपया नहीं दिया। उसने जाते हुए फिर ये कहा कि जैसी है तो वैसी रहे, आगे नहीं बढ़ पाए। उसके बच्चा हर साल वो प्रेग्नेंट होती थी, 4 महीने तक पेट में रहता था। उसके बाद बच्चा खत्म हो जाता, अंदर ही अंदर शाप था। उसके लिए वो आई, उसके लिए आई तो फिर उस टाइम ये अपनी छुट्टी हुई, 7 महीने के लिए थी। फिर इन्होंने कहा मैं अभी नहीं कुछ करूंगा, आप 40 दिन के बाद उसको एक बार बैठाया जो भी था। उससे ना वो पहली बार हुई थी। उस टाइम जब वो आई तो उसके गुरु की आत्मा अंदर आई इनसे बात करने के लिए कि तुम मेरे शिष्य को कैसे दे सकता है? जब मैंने शाप दिया तो तू क्यों देता है इसको बच्चा? तो उन्होंने कहा मेरे दरबार पे आई है, मैं तो जरूरत हूँ, तो अपने शिष्य को मत भेज, मैं लेने नहीं सकता। बुलाता नहीं है, वो आए ना तो जरूरत है। कहते नहीं तो ऐसे नहीं, इसको तो मेरे साथ में भेज, तुझे माफी मांग के आए। फिर इन्होंने उसको कहा कि वहां से कुछ लेना नहीं, माथा टेका, माफी मांगा। फिर वहां पर लोगों ने अपने तवीज वगैरह दिए, तो फिर तवीज लेके आए तो बच्चा नहीं खत्म। खत्म क्या, उसको पता ही नहीं चलता था कि कहाँ गया कहाँ नहीं। तब उस टाइम फिर वहां पर आग लगी थी जब उसके गुरु के हाथ में आई थी शिवपुरी। फिर इन्होंने मेरे को अंदर तो नहीं आने दिया, नौकर था वो, तो 9 औरतें थी नहीं थे, और उन्होंने सारी आग को बचाई, कमरे की सफाई की। उसके बाद फिर उन औरतों को घर भेजा।
तो ये 2 औरतों के बाद फिर कैसे?
उसके बाद फिर लोग आने लगे, तो धीरे धीरे फिर बढ़ते।
The small number of visitors grew to long lines of 40 to 50,000 on a Thursday designated every month for Seva. This day came to be known as Bada Guruwar. At the camps where Gurudev performed mass healings like Kathok, Renuka, Ashok Nagar, etc., the daily number of visitors would be in thousands, extending over days. In short, lakhs would visit these camps he set up, sometimes in remote areas. In the course of 2 decades or so, he provided relief to millions with the help of his disciples, and through collaborations he forged with several spiritual greats like Buddhe Baba, Parashuramji, Lord Shankar, Ashwin Kumars, erstwhile saints, several Devi Devtas, etc. It was like a spiritual blitzkrieg. The Divya Atma, meaning enlightened being, made an example of his life and became a beacon for generations to follow. In fact, a major portion of his seva was done astrally. He would go into part, a kind of samadhi, and leave the body to visit people whom he felt obliged to help and heal. All through life, Gurudev remained a man of generosity beyond his means. He may not have had the money to spend extravagantly, but he believed in contributing his time and body towards his mission of seva. With him, necessity was the mother of invention. His spiritual practice was done at a very frugal level. There was no question of building edifices and ashrams, so he invented the concept of home temples called sthans. At almost no cost, seva was performed at the homes of disciples, and this led to a multiple location establishment. Giri Lalwani reports.
What was Gurudev's philosophy behind opening stands at so many places?
There are so many people who couldn't afford to come to Gurgaon and to make access to the people. Very near. You can say he was very good in marketing, like Thumbs Up and Coke and Pepsi. It should reach to each and everybody. Seva should be given to each and everybody all over the world. Not only in India, he said, but everybody and everywhere. That is the only reason he said. Within short time, they should get seva, and without spending much money.
Pratap Singh was Gurudev's boss and an agnostic. Although years of acquaintanceship did not infect his agnosticism, it certainly made him respect his junior and take up for him. For an office boss to testify that Gurudev hardly had much of a personal life and that he would devote most of his life and time to others showed how the scent of the man could not be contained, either by his career compulsions or family needs. He was always open and available to those who needed him and wanted his help. Pratap Singh Ji expired a few years ago, or we would have been happy to re-interview him. But since that's not possible, you will have to bear with a little more audio disturbance.
वेरी सिंपल, उसकी कोई हैबिट्स नहीं थी, क्यों टाइम ही नहीं उसको मिलता। 2 मिनट घर जाएगा 50 आदमी, दफ्तर निकलेगा 10 गाड़ियां खड़ी होंगी। ही वाज ए थॉरो जेंटलमैन और ह्यूमन बीइंग था जो कि अपना गाइड करता था लोगों को, एंड ही हैज गिवन लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स टू द अदर। किसी का पेन हो रहा है, कोई कैंसर हो रहा है, कोई हो रहा है जैसे।
At office, he would often distribute part of his salary to those who requested him for help. The man who stood sentinel below his office, Gupta ji, the tea stall owner, testifies.
सारे पैकेट्स गुरुदेव अपनी सैलरी पहले ही दे देते थे लोगों को,
बांट देते थे वो।
मतलब आपने देखा है उनको बांटते हुए?
हाँ देखा, लोग खड़े होते थे तनख्वाह लेने गुरु जी के, तो 100 किसी दी, 200 किसी दी।
लोग लाइनों में खड़े थे।
ऑफिस वाले होते थे, कुछ बाहर के लोग, मैं तो और ज्यादा मोस्टली ऑफिस के लोग होते थे।
The man with seemingly little did a lot. We would have normally said Gurudev was suckered by some of his junior employees in the office. But he didn't look at it like that. In fact, when one of his disciples asked as to why everyone put their tea's expense on his account, he said, वो कल भी पीते थे, हम कल भी पिलाते थे, वो आज भी पीते हैं, हम आज भी पिलाते हैं, वो कल भी पिएंगे, हम कल भी पिलाएंगे. That was his kind of attitude. Anand Parashar was one of Gurudev's junior colleagues. He worked with him and worshipped him at the same time.
इन्होंने कभी भेदभाव किया ही नहीं, हमने देखा ही नहीं ना कभी कि इस तरह की कोई एक्टिविटी या इस तरह का कोई, असल में तो समय ही नहीं मिलता था, मैं आपको सच्चाई बता दूं, क्योंकि लंच में भी जो है लोग नीचे वेट कर रहे हैं, गुरुजी नीचे 10 आदमी खड़े हैं, गुरुजी चलना जरा। तो अब देखिए जिसके पास आशा लेके कोई आदमी आया है तो बट नेचुरल है कि वो तो उनकी ड्यूटी थी, क्योंकि प्रकृति ने उनको दिया था जो कुछ, तो प्रकृति का आदेश तो उनके लिए था, तो वो उसको कभी डिनाई नहीं किया, उन्होंने हमेशा अपनी तरफ से पूरा सहयोग किया।
These were examples of people who looked at him with awe. We realized that we could admire with ease, but not easily imitate. Even the CIA would have certified that this was not a man whom you could easily impersonate. Bittuji renders a heartwarming story of Gurudev's attitude towards Seva. To him, it was not about earning any brownie points or impressing the self or others. His consciousness demanded caring in a very matter-of-fact manner.
कई दफा मैंने देखा है कि एक आदमी आध्यात्मिकली अगर बहुत पहुंचा हुआ होता है तो ज्यादा कम्युनिकेट लोगों से नहीं करता है, एक ही किसी से बात करता है, वो बाकी जाके सबसे। ऐसा इनके साथ था कि हर एक से खुद ही बातें करते थे या सबके साथ खुद ही डील करते थे, इनका क्या नेचर था?
देखिए, जितने भी लोग आते थे, पब्लिक आते थे उनके पास, वो हर एक से खुद पूरा इन्वॉल्व होकर उनसे मतलब हर तरह से उनसे इन्वॉल्व होते थे, उनके दुख में भी, उनके सुख में भी, उनकी परेशानी में भी। मतलब वो उसको ये नहीं लगने देते थे कि भाई मतलब मैं आपसे दूर हूँ। वो मतलब आदमी इंतजार करता था कि मैं गुरुजी से कब मिलूंगा। वो उस आदमी को लगता था कि गुरुजी मेरे ही हैं।
गुरुजी को मिलने अंदाजन कितने लोग आते होंगे ऑन अ डेली बेसिस और कितने लोग आते होंगे ऑन अ बड़ा गुरुवार ड्यूरिंग द से पीक टाइम ऑफ हिज लाइफ?
शिवरात्रि गुरु पूजा के ऊपर तो ऑल ओवर इंडिया, ऑल ओवर वर्ल्ड से लोग आते थे। वो 75,000, 80,000, 60,000 के करीब लोग होते थे, और बड़ा वीरवार को 15 to 20,000 लोग जो आते थे। सेकेंडली, हमारी जो गुरु पूजा थी, इतने लोग जो शिवरात्रि भी आते थे, गुरु पूजा में आते थे, तो वो 2-2, 3-3 दिन तक रेगुलर फंक्शन चलता था, जिसमें मतलब लोगों को एक बड़े वीरवार को जो लोगों के नंबर आते थे 10 से 12 घंटे में नंबर आते थे। लोग लाइन में लगे रहते थे 10-10 घंटे, 12-12 घंटे, और कई बार वेडनेसडे दोपहर को शुरू हो गया बड़ा वीरवार, कई बार वेडनेसडे शाम को शुरू हो गया, नेक्स्ट डे थर्सडे, फ्राइडे मॉर्निंग तक चल रहा है। वो टाइम भी हमने देखा है। गुरु पूजा 5-5 दिन चलती थी, लोग 5-5 दिन तक वेट करते थे। शिवरात्रि 2-2, 3-3 दिन चलती थी।
एक सवाल पैदा होता है मैथमेटिकली, अगर आप कहते हैं 60,000 लोग आते थे, तो 60,000 लोगों को अगर आप 1 मिनट में एक आदमी को मिले तो 18 घंटे में आप सिर्फ 1,000 आदमी को मिल सकते हैं।
शिवरात्रि और गुरु पूजा के ऊपर फंक्शन के दिनों में गुरुजी किसी से बात नहीं करते थे।
तो कितने लोगों को मिलते होंगे?
जो उनकी स्पीड आती थी वो बाहर चले जाते थे, लोग लाइन में लगे हुए हैं तो लाइन में ही सबको चलते चलते आशीर्वाद देते थे, कि जैसे कई बार तो 1-1 सेकंड में 2-2, 3 लोगों को आशीर्वाद देते थे। वो अपनी नजर से आशीर्वाद देते थे। कई बार आप वो बैठते नहीं थे। गुरु पूजा जो 5 दिन चलती थी वो इसलिए चलती थी कि वो बैठकर आशीर्वाद देते थे, नारियल बनाते थे, इसलिए मतलब 5-6 दिन, 4 दिन, 5 दिन लग जाते थे उस पूरी पब्लिक को निपटाने के लिए। शिवरात्रि पर गुरुजी बाहर जाकर आशीर्वाद देते थे, 1 घंटे, वो 1 मिनट में 15-15, 20-20 लोगों को आशीर्वाद देकर निकल जाते थे।
तो ये जितने लोग आते होंगे 40, 50, 60,000, इनकी क्या देखभाल करते थे यहाँ पे?
इनकी भी पूरी लंगर की सुविधा होती थी, पूरा रहने का इंतजाम होता था, क्योंकि कुछ जो बाहर से लोग आते थे उनके लिए हम अपने खर्चे के ऊपर उनका रहने का मतलब हम लोग जो हमारी सोसाइटी थी जो जिसमें गुरुजी का स्थान है, वहाँ के लोगों से जो पहले हमारे पास कोई जगह नहीं होती थी रहने के लिए, तो हम उन लोगों से रिक्वेस्ट करते थे, वो अपने कोई 2 कमरे दे रहा है, कोई 3 कमरे दे रहा है, मतलब हर तरह की उनको जो सुविधा हम अपनी तरफ से अच्छी से अच्छी दे सकते थे।
The 4 pillars of the management of the Gurgaon Sthan were Bittu, Gurudev's adopted son, kind of, Gaggu, Gurudev's nephew, Nikku, his wife's nephew, and Pappu, who was not a nephew. As far as good behavior goes, none in the quad had learned how to spell the word. If anybody could bully Gurudev and get away with it, it was not the Devi Devtas. It was these four. They felt a sense of ownership towards Gurudev and always wanted his comfort. It was not uncommon to see the Mahaguru pleading with them not to force him to eat, to let him carry on with his activities. I guess you could call them the Sthan's version of the Four Musketeers. In discussion are Nikkuji and Gagguji.
आमतौर की जिंदगी में उनका रोजाना का दिन कैसा?
He used to get up early in the morning at around, you can say 6:30. He'll get ready and then move off to his office. Sometimes he'll come early at around 2:33. Otherwise, if he's late, then he'll go straight away to the farm. Then he comes back at 7, 8, something like that.
7-8 बजे आके फिर उनका डे कैसा जाता?
If people are there, then he'll be meeting them. Suppose if he has at 2:33 or 4 o'clock, he has come home, he'll go off to his part. And then you never know what time he will get up. He may get up at 11, 11:30, 12 or 2 o'clock in the night. The people used to wait for him maximum till 11:30, 12. They'll wait for him. 11:30, 12 बजे तक एक set routine था कि people they will wait till 11:30, 12. Then it was a routine. Now they have to go back because at 12, if he gets up at 12, 12:30, then he won't be meeting people. That was the thing. If he has got up at 8:30, 9, 9:30, even 10 o'clock, he will ask how many people are there. Okay, 50, 60, 20. He say, okay, उनको बोलना कि सिर्फ आशीर्वाद लेके वो मिल के चले जाए. All right. बस उनके दर्शन करने ही काफी होता था basically.
तो उनका फिर बहुत ही हेक्टिक लाइफस्टाइल था, स्ट्रेसफुल लाइफस्टाइल था.
नहीं, हेक्टिक लाइफ जनरल रूटीन में नहीं होता था उनका इतना. वो बड़े फ्री मूड में रहते थे, बड़े फ्री मूड में रहते थे. ऐसा नहीं है कि बहुत ही एक्टिव हो, बड़े फ्री मूड में रहते थे. हाँ, उनका रात को 2 बजे तक भी कई बार लोगों से मिलना होता था. कुछ लोगों से जनरली सबसे नहीं. 11:30, 12 बजे तक वो जनरली अपने आप को फ्री कर लेते थे. उसके बाद वो अपने शिष्यों से मिलते थे 2 बजे तक. शिष्यों से मिलते थे 2 बजे तक. और उनका खाना फिर उनके बाद 2, 2:30, 3 बजे होता था. कई बार तो ऐसा था तो सुबह 4 बजे हम लोग खाना खा रहे हैं. 4 बजे गुरु जी खाना खा रहे हैं. कई बार ऐसा होता था 4 बजे खाना खा रहे हैं और 5 बजे हम लोगों को खाना खाया मिलता था.
कोई सेट टाइम ऑफ स्लीप
नहीं, कुछ नहीं था. ऐसा कुछ सेट नहीं था कि हाँ भाई
जैसे हमारा 11, 11:30 तक मैक्सिमम 12 बजे तक हम सो गए, ऐसा कुछ नहीं. खाने का भी डिनर टाइम, नो टाइम.
डिनर टाइम जनरली 2 बजे के बाद ही होता था. जनरली 2 बजे के बाद ही होता. नॉर्मल रूटीन में भी 2 बजे के बाद ही होता.
Gurudev never treated seva like a hobby. He treated it as one does one's main business. Though a day in his life was long, he somehow managed to make the two ends of time meet. His day was more like an MP3 day, fully compressed. If you are wondering what happened to the night, we happened to the night. We would sit and pester him after he had finished meeting patients and visitors. We would barge into his room and shamelessly sit there till 2 a.m. or so. So the man lived from day to day, with all the nights missing, so to speak. Some of this tireless culture of selfless service infused itself into our psyche. We learned to follow his example, if not in whole, then at least in parts. Let's extract some information from Giriji.
He was always fresh and smiling. I never saw him tired in my life.
Did you ever ask him, Gurudev, how do you manage to stay so fresh all the time?
No, I never. But actually, I never saw him sleeping also. I asked him, Gurudev, you don't sleep. He said, Beta, if Guru sleeps and everything finishes, how can I sleep? He meant by that Guru can never sleep. Guru has to be 24 hours awake. Because you see, actually, he didn't tell me, but I can make out. Suppose the seva keeps going on all over the world. Now it is a day here, afternoon here, and seva is going on here. And if it is night here, and the seva is going on in Chicago or Canada, somewhere else. So the timings are different, but all the seva, all the shishyas, all his disciples, when they do seva, they take his name and then they do seva. So it means they remember him and then they cure the people. Without his taking name, they cannot cure anybody. So he says, I have to be awake. I have to see that everybody gets cured, everybody gets what they want.
For him, sleep was a completely different kettle of fish. It was not about the body going through various stages of sleep. He would leave his body and travel while his physical body would remain lifeless. And then he would re-enter his body after 2, 3, 4 hours. I guess it came as a shock to us because this was not a subject we were familiar with. We didn't know how he survived without sleep because we sat with him until 2 a.m. and then he was up again at 5 a.m. doing his normal chores. So it was a bit of a mind fox for most of us. But we did eventually figure out that his sleep requirements were very limited, and he also knew the secret of how to make half his body sleep while keeping the other half awake. Very convenient, very successful. Rajpalji talks about why he found Gurudev to be so different from other spiritualists. An interesting point he brings to the fore is that Gurudev never allowed himself to be indebted to others, neither in favors nor with money and donations. In one sentence, he was not a purchasable commodity, and hence his strange strategies.
जहां जहां भी मैं गया वहां मैंने ये तो देखा कि लोग पैसे तो देते थे उन संतों को, और वो एक्सेप्ट भी करते थे। लोग उनके लिए खाना लेके आते थे और वो खाना पहले खाते थे, बाद में लोग खाते थे। उनके लिए इंतजाम किए जाते थे उनके कंफर्ट के। जबकि मैंने इनको देखा, इन्होंने कभी किसी से पैसा एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया। जैसे कि एक सरदार जी के सिर में दर्द थी तो इन्होंने बोला कि बेटा दर्द में आपकी अभी ठीक कर देता हूं, आप ये नॉनवेज और शराब ना पीना, ओके। तो वो आदमी कुछ हफ्ते के बाद आया, उसके हाथ में ब्रीफ केस था और गुरु जी को वो देने लगा। तो गुरु ने बोला कि इसमें क्या है? कि गुरु जी मेरी सिरदर्द तो कभी ठीक होती नहीं थी, मैंने बड़े बड़े इलाज कराए थे और मैंने सोचा कि मैं 1 लाख रुपए दूंगा अगर मेरे को सिरदर्द दूर करते। आप आए, आपने बिना दवाई के मेरी सिरदर्द दूर कर दी है। आज 15 दिन से मैं बिल्कुल सिरदर्द के बिना, आपने मुझे 1 गिलास पानी पिलाया था, तो अब मैं ये पैसे लेके आया। तो गुरु ने कहा कि अगर मैंने ये पैसे ले लिए, इधर मैंने हाथ लगाया तेरे बैग को, उधर सिरदर्द वापस तेरे पास चली जाएगी। इस तरह देखते 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 मैंने ये एक्सपीरियंस किया कि ये डिफरेंट है, आप उन संतों की तरह नहीं है।
Gurudev believed in physical contribution to seva, his own. At times, a stranger could have believed that he was a farm hand in a safari suit. Giriji remembers.
And he used to be, so much deeply involved in cultivation that he never used to bother about his nicely ironed clothes, white pant, white shirt, his shoes, socks. They all used to be in muck. Okay, I asked him once, how come you love this cultivation so much? Then he told me, see, even Guru Nanak Dev Ji also used to love this cultivation. And he told me, बेटा मेरी ये इच्छा होती थी मैं अपने हाथों से जो मेरा अन्न होता है, अपने हाथों से अन्न उगा के, अपने हाथों से उसका लंगर बना के, मेरे जो बच्चे आते हैं सब जगह से, तुम हो, सारे बच्चे जो आते हैं, अपने हाथों से खिलाऊं। He should love it कि अगर लोग उनके पास आके खाएं और रहें। He should love people and वो ये चाहते थे कि मैं अपने हाथ से उनको खिलाऊं और अपने हाथ से खिलाते थे हमेशा।
When it came to seva, he did not differentiate between man and beast. He regarded all life forms as an extension of himself. This inspired me to treat even insects with respect and not see them as creepy crawlies. I have never seen a better showcasing of the concept of Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi means I identify myself not as a limited, identifiable person, but a part of the unidentified cosmic being. A person's consciousness has to go beyond the physical attachments and labels to see itself as Atma or Paramatma and not as Jivatma. What follows is the judgment of a judge not on matters of legality, but on those of humanity. Over to Virinderji.
What kind of love for animals did you notice in Gurudev?
Love for animal was profound in him, absolutely profound. He would go to the farm, he would milk the cows, he would feed the cows with his own hands, and he would keep so many dogs. He was one who would serve them, who would love them. One day I went to his farm. I had no inclination that he will come. I had noted some ticks on some dogs. So I took that red medicine with me, and I was cleaning the dogs and I was giving them the tick bath. Suddenly he came there, he appeared there, he patted my back and he said, "You are my son. Tu mera put hai." Just one sentence, "Tu mera put hai." And I could see all the love of the world virtually drenching me, drenching each pore of me. This is what he was.
A humble request to all listeners is to please take this page from his book of life. Do learn to feel a commonality with all life forms. Do serve them as best as you can. Seva is his legacy to all. If seva can catapult a village lad into a spiritual giant, it can also do a lot for you. Try it. Pahalwanji, who did seva by looking after Gurudev's farm in Gurgaon, is a devotee beyond measure. Simple in thought, but loyal to the bone is he. He narrates the story of Bajrang, a monkey at the Khansa farm. Gurudev had found him a female monkey companion. Their child had died, and Gurudev went into part to ensure the monkey's infant got rebirth as a human being.
एक बार बजरंग नाम का बंदर था एक बच्चा, वो गुजर गया था, वो मर गया था। तो गुरु जी को कई दिन हो गए थे। तो कहता वो बजरंग कहाँ गया? कहता जी वो तो हो गया काम। कहता बताया क्यों नहीं मेरे को? कहता पुत्र ठहरो, मैं अभी हो गया ना। आधा घंटा के लिए पाठ पे गए थे, तो आधा घंटा में वो वापस आ गए, उठ गए थे। फिर पूछा जी, उसने रामनिवास पान वगैरह बनाता था, उसने पूछ लिया, कहता जी बंदर के लिए भी जाना पड़ता है आपको पाठ पे? कहता हाँ पुत्र, अपने पास रहता था, हमें कर्तव्य दिखाता था, हंसाता था, मनोरंजन करवाता था हमारा। तो अच्छा जी। फिर उसने पूछा जी उसका क्या हिसाब किया? कहता पुत्र आदमी की योनि में जन्म दिलवाया। जो उसमें जो कमियां थी वो अपने बच्चों की सेवा में से उसका पूरा कर दिया, अपने बच्चों से।
From monkey to human meant circumventing many yonis or life cycles. Where was Darwin when this conversation took place? I wonder. Giving birth in human form to monkeys, dogs, and some snakes certainly defied the processes and parameters of nature. I guess in the affairs of saints, Mother Nature chooses to look the other way. Not too many Homo sapiens have had a relationship and intuitive communication with the four-legged ones. Gurudev did. Giriji stresses this point further.
Animals I have seen, in fact, because once he took me to farmhouse, he used to be fond of, cattle, cows and buffaloes and all this. He took me there. So the moment he reached there, all the cows and buffaloes started making noise. Then he said, shant ho jao. And all just keep, there was pin drop silent there. Then he said, beta maine inka naam rakha hua hai. Then he just said, Kali sab cow turned her face and Then he said, Saraswati, some cow from this side, on the left side, turned her face and then he said, Sundari, like this. So he kept calling their names, he had given them names, and they used to talk to him, like he used to call them and they used to talk to him. There were monkeys also, Dharmendra, and one female monkey was there, Rekha. He used to converse with them also. He used to talk to them. He could understand their language. Yeah. There were deers also. So actually the farmhouse is made in such a way, it's right inside, say about half a kilometer inside. So actually once he told me, you go and sit there, I'll come and join you. Before he came, everybody, all the seva was here, they said, Guruji's come, Guruji's come. I said, how did they come to? I didn't. And second day again this thing, same thing happened. They said, oh, Guruji has come. Third day again this happened, Guruji reached here. So, fourth day I said, I must ask them. So fourth day I went there, I said, how do you come to know that Guruji has come? Guruji comes here at farmhouse and he is there right at the gate, 500 meters away from you. And you come to know that he has come. He said, no, we don't come to know, but when Guruji reaches at the gate, these monkeys and these deers, they start dancing and these cows and buffaloes start making noise. Because of them we come to know that the Guruji is reaching. So, they could sense out, this was the love of Gurudevji towards everything. Everything, I should say, not everybody, everything.
Seva was his takya kalam, his motto. He indulged in it wholeheartedly. His time, body, mind revolved around this practice. He inspired, cajoled, and even pleaded with people to serve others. On the subject of seva, he was not only the greatest, but also the latest. If we do not learn his secret, we would be losing an opportunity of a lifetime, which could lead to opportunities of several lifetimes. Let us serve as best as we can as a salutation to this great master, as a salutation to our own great Atma. Please, let us. He who delegates his supernatural abilities to others certainly has some expectations of their results. The seva he initiated was the effort of one man helped by a few. His expectation, I assume, would be that those whom he added potency to can do more, can do a lot more. भूली बिसरी चंद उम्मीदें, चंद फसाने याद आए. भूली बिसरी चंद उम्मीदें, चंद फसाने याद आए. तुम याद आए और तुम्हारे साथ ज़माने याद आए.